Right. For those tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, welcome to Sports Talk. Thank you for passing through this afternoon. And if you'd like to join into the conversation, feel free to WhatsApp me at 876-997-3125. This is Sports Talk. The name is Kathya, and coming up now, it's gonna be our sports highlights. All right, kicking off our sports highlights today is the Sunshine Girls Fast Five performance. Sunshine Girls Fast Five performance so far. Then that's going on in Christchurch, New Zealand. For those of you who could be awake like myself in the wee hours of the morning. So they had a match. Their first match was against Australia. Sunshine Girls, they won 38-36, Australia. And their second match was against Malawi. They won 41-37. And then they lost their third game, 33-17 against South Africa. However, the Sunshine Girls still have a chance to qualify or still have a chance to medal, as they've only lost one match and won the other two, which is similar result to the other teams. The next they will play will be 6 p.m. Jamaica time today, and they will play New Zealand, and then they will play England, and then the competition will move on to the playoffs. So far, the stand-up performer for the Sunshine Girls has been Giselle Allison. Allison goal attack she scored the winning goals for us against Australia and Malawi. Just in case you're wondering how the Fast Five competition works, it's a little bit different from regular netball. So in the Fast Five competition, they have 4 quarters of 6 minutes. So that would be 6 verse 24. So the entirety of the match is 24 minutes. However, you only have 5 players on the court, this is why it's called a Fast Five. So you have the goal shooter, the goal attack, the center, the goal defense, and the goalkeeper. So those are the 5 positions that play in the Fast Five. Now, at 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in each quarter, you have a section called power play. Now, the Fast Five is a little bit different because in netball, normally in the D where you're able to score, it only accounts for 1 point. However, now they've separated, so you have like a 1 point segment, a 2 point area, and a 3 point area. So once you score, you'll get either 1 point depending on where you're positioned. However, in the power play sections, the points are doubled. So 1 point becomes 2, 2 points become 4, 3 points become 6. And so Giselle Allison was able to, in the Australia and Malawi game, she was able to score us a 3-pointer, which means that it will account for 6 points because of the time of the game that it happened, and was able to win us the games against Australia and Malawi. She also was the player of the match for both those games. In South Africa, the team looked a little bit out of sorts. And that is because in Fast 5-2, you can make changes at any time. The changes they're called revolving or rotating changes. So once a player is not active, another player can just run on and come in their position. So interesting things happening in Christchurch, New Zealand in the Fast 5 competition. We look forward. The competition ends today, Jamaica time, tomorrow, New Zealand time, based on the time difference. So we look forward to what the girls will produce against England and New Zealand, and we hope that they will be able to come home with a medal. Of course, after been able to secure a bronze medal place in the World Championships earlier this year. So we look forward to that. Yeah. All right. So happening at the Michael University, we're having our Pan-Am lacrosse sixes competition. And next week we'll hear a little bit about that. But yeah, lacrosse, a very new sport to Jamaica, very interesting sport as well. I was able to see some highlights. I know one of the Jamaica team have progressed to the semifinals. There are other teams here. And so just looking forward to what the update will be. Actually, the competition ends today. So we look forward to what the update would be once everything has concluded. Right. So that's it. Something new, something lacrosse is not a popular sport in Jamaica, but it's an upcoming sport. So we look forward to, what it will bring at the high school level. I know there have been like dominant performances from like St. Hugh's and JC and George's and KC. And, those schools have been able to have players progress to universities overseas. So again, lacrosse are upcoming sport, and we're looking forward to what it will bring for Jamaica. Anything that we put our mind to as Jamaicans, we normally get through to it. So, interesting things happening in lacrosse. All right, so we continue with the Jamaica Premier League, which had completed its week 3 of competition. Lots and lots going on in the Jamaica Premier League so far. Before I give you the results of last week, I am going to tell you about the matches coming up this week in the Jamaica Premier League. Tomorrow, Dunby Holding will play Portmore United. Malines United will play Mount Pleasant, who are league leaders so far and defending champions. Treasure Beach, newcomers, will play the next newcoming team, Lime Hall Academy. There will play Montego Bay. Arnett Gardens will play Tivoli Gardens. And for the Monday Night Football, Harbourview will play Humber Lion. And Cavalier will play Waterhouse FC. Now, as it relates to the results of the matches of last week in the Jamaica Premier League, we're going to go to that so you can be updated. And then I'll give you, a standings update as it relates to what's going on there in the Jamaica Premier League. So we'll get to that. All right. So on Sunday, Waterhouse defeated Lime Hall Academy 3-1. Humble Lion and Malines United drew to a 1-1 draw. Montego Bay defeated Cavalier 1-0. Mount Pleasant defeated Dunby Holding 3-0. Portmore United defeated Treasure Beach 3-1. And in that game that had to be postponed before I go to that, Harbourview and Arnett Gardens drew 2-2. And the game that had to be postponed because of the CONCACAF club football that was supposed to be a Cavalier against Harbourview. That match was played on Thursday, and Cavalier defeated Harbourview 3-1. As it relates to the standings, Mount Pleasant currently leads the standings. So I'll just give you the top three. So it's Mount Pleasant and Waterhouse, and then Arnett Gardens in third place. And that's what's happening so far in the Jamaica Premier League. As I said, Mount Pleasant are the defending champions in the competition. And in the relegation zone so far, still early days, Dunby Holding and Treasure Beach, Lime Hall Academy is just above. So at least one of the new teams are pushing out of the relegation zone, which is good. All right, and in the NBA, so lots happened in the NBA competition so far. We've had some interesting games, or I've seen some interesting games. Um, l- Last night, the Lakers defeated the Suns 122 to 119. But let's see what's going on in terms of the standings with the East Coast, West Coast, and I'll just highlight, of course, the top three teams. So on the Eastern Conference, rather, 76ers, they currently lead the standings with Celtics in second, and this is after 8 or 9 games played by the team, so still early in the competition. The Pacers are currently in third place, Hawks in fourth, Bucks in fifth, Knicks in sixth, Heat in seventh, and Raptors in eighth. And then in the Western Conference, it's currently being led by the Denver Nuggets. They're in first place, Dallas Mavericks. They're in second, the Timberwolves in third, Warriors in fourth, Rockets in fifth, Thunder in sixth, Kings in seventh, and the Lakers currently are in eighth place. Lots and lots happening as it relates to, as I said, the world of sports. I think we're heading into the season that everything is happening all at once. And, we here at Sports Talk will keep you updated on all the sports that's happening. Anything that you'd like to know, if you'd like me to add another sport, just send us a message, 876-997-3125. If you know about a sport that we haven't talked about on the show, you can let us know, yeah? But we're going to go to a quick break and then we're going to come back because we have more to talk about in the sports highlights right here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
Giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. Flow has just what you've been wishing. Flow is a celebration. Free phone and earbuds for you.
Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT.
Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by
Visit the Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Did you know that the flu can lead to hospitalization and even death? Pregnant women, persons 60 years and older, babies and children, and persons with a chronic illness such as diabetes, asthma, or heart disease are at a high risk for complications from the flu. Get the flu vaccine today. Visit your nearest health center and ask to be vaccinated. The flu is no joke.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with support from USAID and PAHO.
Marshall's Pharmacy will be celebrating its 5th anniversary and hosting their grand opening Saturday, November 11. Join Love 101 FM as we will be live on location from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the grounds of Shop 10 to 11 Pathfinder Plaza, 2W Henderson Boulevard, Portmore, to share all that's happening with you. Listen for Heralds of Hope, brought to you by the Central Jamaica Conference SDA at 12:30. That's Marshall's Pharmacy's 5th anniversary and grand opening Saturday, November 11 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for an inspiring time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer, this Monday, November 13. Listen throughout the show for tips on how to become the best version of who you are in the feature Becoming You. Grab your cup of coffee and we can start the day right with the Morning Coffee Pick Me Up devotional at 6 a.m. Cruise with Love on your radio at 7 a.m. inside Drive Time Jammings with great music to lift your day. This week inside Being Jamaican, we have a question for you. As a Jamaican, a real yardie. What don't you eat? Let's chat about it. At 8:30 a.m. inside the Healthy Way, we discuss a boil, also known as Furonco. 9:30 a.m. is something more, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center. So stick and stay with us. This Pick Me Up Monday inside Love in the Morning. 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
So if I put it
Thank you for joining me right here on the family station Love 101 for Sports Talk. Welcome back. We are going to continue with our sports highlights. All right. Of course, continuing in our sports highlights, we talk about the English Premier League results for today and the matches that will come up tomorrow. So, in terms of the matches for today, Wolves beat Tottenham 2-1, and Tottenham having a very rough week as they would have lost in the week 4-1 to Chelsea. Of course, they've suffered some red cards, so players would have missed games, as well as they also suffered some injuries in that game against Chelsea. So we see that affecting them in today's game against Wolves. Arsenal, with 10 men, defeated Burnley 3-1. Everton defeated Crystal Palace 3-2. Man United, I'm sure most of the Man United supporters are happy that their side would have won this morning, having suffered some recent defeats. They've beat Luton 1-0, and currently at halftime, it's 0-0 between Bournemouth and Newcastle. In tomorrow's games, Aston Villa plays Fulham, Brighton will play Sheffield United, Liverpool will play Brentford, West Ham plays Forest or Nottingham Forest, and Chelsea will play Manchester City. And looking forward to that game. As you guys know, Chelsea's my side, and they've been having a resurgence. So let's see how they will do against the league leaders in the English Premier League. So looking forward to that. And of course, we'll keep you updated on the results. Come next week, we'll talk about Sunday's results, and of course, look forward to the other matches in the English Premier League. All right. So in the Cricket World Cup update, lots have happened this week. I know last week I told you about the chances of certain teams being able to make the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup. Of course, as I said, West Indies is not in the Cricket World Cup, but we're still looking because exciting things still going on there in India. So we're still looking towards what has happened. So currently, I can tell you that India, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand have all progressed to the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup. However, I'd like to talk about, or I would like to highlight a supreme performance that took place in the Cricket World Cup this week. And boy, I tell you, unless you've been under a rock, then you would have known that this performance is probably dubbed the best, maybe the best performance or the best or the greatest one-day knock of all time. And that was Glenn Maxwell of Australia, who did a sensational 201 not out against Afghanistan. Now, it says that the all-rounder came to the crease with his side, which is Australia, at 49 for 4. So if you listen to last week, so let me just give some context. So last week, Afghanistan, Australia, New Zealand, and Pakistan were in the running of making the semi-finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup happening in India. However, these teams had to play each other, and so that's what made it more interesting. Australia, they were down 49 for 4, which soon became 91-7 in pursuit of a 292 score for to see their semifinal spot in the competition. Now, Maxwell innings was the highest men's one-day international score by an Australian batter, and it says it was so remarkable. And I went back and I watched the highlights of Glenn Maxwell innings, and let me tell you, astounding innings by Glenn Maxwell. He had cramps, so you could see he was fatigued because he literally took on the weight of the team. At the side for 91-7, now looking like they're out of the competition, and for him to come in and score 201 not out. And in an interview, Glenn Maxwell said he started to have stiff back, which became spasms throughout the middle of his innings, and he said that was for fielding because it was so hot. And of course, we know India does suffer from heat waves at times. So he was said because of his earlier performance, because as an all-rounder, it means that he is good in terms of batting and bowling. So he would have bowled 10 hours in the innings to restrict Afghanistan for 291. So he was saying that, he was going through different spells because having bowled 10 hours and coming and making 201 not out again was just phenomenal. He spoke about how pickle juice got him through, but importantly, he was actually dropped twice. So he was dropped earlier in the innings, and also he was dropped when he was on 27. He was also dropped when he was on 33, and he also had a LBW, like before wicket, decision in his favor. I mean, he shared the record of 202 for the 8th wicket with his captain, Pat Cummins, who made a patient and supportive 12 not out from 68 balls. Pat Cummins made 12 not out from 68 balls. It means in that partnership, Maxwell, because now he started to cramp, and so the physio of the team just said, you just take the strike and continue. And so he also said that if Australia does not win the Cricket World Cup, then this performance will not mean much to him. And I can understand, because you want to have outstanding performances all the time. Cricket, it's not a one-man sport. So you do hope that in the semifinals, and if Australia does make it to the finals, that the other players on the team will shine. And of course, these other teams will be. So Maxwell has now put a target on his back, technically, because the other teams will look to get him out as soon as he comes to the crease in the games to come. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see how does his performance will propel the Australian team in the semifinals. So, looking forward to that. But as I said, great, fantastic innings. It's a while I've seen somebody just taking the team down and out at 91-7 and just taking things in his own hands, and just decided that the fate of the team was going to be his, and he made 201 not out. Just a fantastic performance by Glenn Maxwell. So yeah, it's, fantastic things. I said, not because West Indies not in there. Turn on the TV, watch the Cricket World Cup, because trust me, there's some performances, outstanding performances, and it's not just a one-side thing. I mean, India, yes, they're dominating. They haven't lost a match so far in the competition. So I mean, that's always something, but we still can, support, because yes, we support West Indies, but there are other teams in the competition that we look forward to. Other players have other sides that we would support throughout the year. So it's good to just, take a look at what's going on. The competition is coming closer, as they're now after a few more games, just have a few more games left in the round robin, and then they'll move on to the semifinals and then finals. So the competition will be soon over. So it's not too late to tune in and see what's happening there in the Cricket World Cup. And then, of course, earlier this week, Sunil Narayan, Mr. Spinner, he announced his retirement from international cricket. Now, Sunil has not been playing a lot of cricket in recent times for West Indies, so his retirement does not come to me as a surprise. He, however, said that he is going to be continuing to play T20, which again is not surprising because most cricketers, when they do retire from international cricket, T20 still makes them money, still keeps the family going. So I'm not surprised to see that he's still playing, or still will continue to play his in the T20 series. Now, for the CG United Super Cup, interesting things, of course. So, is our little cricket segment, if you may call it that. So, for this, what's happening in the CG United competition, of course, Jamaica is out. No surprise there. We didn't really put a good performance, or there wasn't. I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't think that we were able to just put any performance together. But actually, the CG Super 50 finals is actually happening today, and the finals is the TNT Red Force, which would be Sunil Narayan's last game with the Red Force. They are playing the Leeward Islands Hurricane, and currently they are the Leeward Islands is 40 without loss. So that's what's going on there in the CG United Super 50 Cup. Coming up in the show, we're going to be talking about the Reggae Boys' upcoming match against Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League. And of course, something you don't want to miss will be what's going on in the Issa Manning and the Costa Cup update. We'll be right back here on Sports Talk.
Marshall's Pharmacy will be celebrating its 5th anniversary and hosting their grand opening Saturday, November 11. Join Love 101 FM as we will be live on location from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the grounds of Shop 10 to 11 Pathfinder Plaza, 2W Henderson Boulevard, Portmore, to share all that's happening with you. Listen for Heralds of Hope, brought to you by the Central Jamaica Conference SDA at 12:30. That's Marshall's Pharmacy's 5th anniversary and grand opening Saturday, November 11 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here on the family station Love 101.
Something smells good.
When you're cooking or baking, begin with the best. The trusted tradition of Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings. Mix it, stir it, blend it all around and create something spectacular. Whether you're making cakes, custards, puddings, sponges, or savory meals, Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings add that special touch to everything. And here's something else special. Benjamin's ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, anise, and mixed spice are now available in liquids.
Yes, everything tastes better with Benjamin's.
Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Planning to sit the May-June CXC exams privately? Register with Overseas Examinations Commission before the registration deadline, Friday, November 24. Visit our Kingston office or Montego Bay office to complete your application form, or send an email to help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow our social media pages at Overseas Exams for more details. Remember, if you plan to sit the May-June CXC exams privately, the registration deadline is November 24th.
Welcome to Sports Talk, or welcome back to Sports Talk right here on the family station Love 101. Thank you so much for joining, and we go right up to 2 p.m. and we do this every Saturday between 1 to 2. Right. So thanks for those who have joined us on YouTube and Facebook. Good afternoon to Makisha Spence, Janet Brooks, and Marva Robinson. And if you'd like to join in the conversation, do send me a WhatsApp at 876-997-31 25. And we continue sports talk. Before we talk about the Reggae Boys' upcoming match against Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League, the Reggae Boys actually have a international friendly. That's today against Guatemala. The side was announced some days ago. Amal Knight, Jamali Waite, Richard King, Kyle Ming, Jamoy Topi, Damine Ossie, John Bell, Lamont Chester, Javane Brown, Devon Williams, Demara Phillips, Tyreek McGee, Travon Reed, Ramon Howell, Deshane Beckford, Romario Williams, Malik Foster, Chanel Thomas, and Shaquille Bradford. So we look forward to see what I don't want to call them junior side of the Reggae Boys, but some of our Reggae Boys players will take on Guatemala this evening in an international friendly. And then we will be having coming up this week, and that's on Friday. So the match on Friday will be against Canada, and it will happen right here at the office. And if you don't know where the office is, that's at the National Stadium. And it's the Friday match is at 7 p.m. and it's the quarterfinal first leg in the CONCACAF Nations League. The squad has not been released yet for the match. However, the boys will push to qualify for the 2024 Copa America, and this is the first leg. So in this quarterfinal round, as in the other rounds, you'll play a home and away game. So our home game is on the 17th, and then we'll play Canada sometime later this month. So we're still waiting on the JFF to release the squad, but we're looking forward to what will happen in terms of against Canada. And of course, later this month as well, our women will take on Panama in the CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup qualifier. So we're looking forward to that. But then let's go to some stats as it relates to Jamaica and Canada and what our head-to-head looks like. So currently, the head-to-head is 4 wins for Jamaica and 4 wins for Canada. So it's pretty even as it relates to that. As it relates to results in the past, and this is across competition, whether it was an international friendly or Gold Cup or World Cup qualification. At home, Jamaica, it shows that Jamaica has defeated Canada on 4 occasions and drew with them. We haven't played Canada in a little while in terms of the goal or any competition. I think the last time we played against Canada was in 2021. Interesting. So we will play Canada again. As I said, at home we've beat Canada 4 times and drew 1 time. So we are looking for a good result against Canada this Friday. I mean, I'm looking forward to what the boys will bring. They've definitely shown that this squad, once they continue to play together, will be able to produce results that will propel us to the next round of competition, and even looking forward to the World Cup qualifiers as we begin our quest for that again. So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to the game. If you are able to, please support the Reggae Boys. I know, as you know, my favorite story, or maybe not favorite story, but maybe the dead horse of the JFF. I talk about them pretty often. I know that things are happening as it relates to JFF. I really hope that that's not that what is happening in terms of administratively with the JFF does not affect the boys in any way, and that we don't hear in the week that certain players couldn't make it because flight wasn't booked, etc., because we know those stories come too often. In my opinion, they've been happening too often in recent times. However, I'm looking forward to the squad that will be released for Friday's game, and I'm also looking forward to what the boys will bring. Hopefully most of our top players will be able to make it. I mean, most of them will be playing in their leagues having played today and will play tomorrow. So let's see how much recovery and rest time they will get between now and Friday to put on a good performance at the office. Of course, we will have a review of the performance in next week's show. But again, if you're able to, please go and support the Reggae Boys at the National Stadium this Friday. The match starts at 7 p.m. So, of course, you'll have enough time to get home or get from work to get to the National Stadium. Always interesting when it is that the boys there and they get our support. Our support is always needed to propel them to good performances. So definitely looking forward to that, and also looking forward to the match this evening. So some of our boys will take on in an international friendly Guatemala, and I think that's happening in the United States. So we can also look forward to that game as well and see if any other players who have been called for the international friendly will actually make it into the squad for Friday. So lots to look forward to for the Reggae Boys to today's game and next week Friday's game, and of course both will be reviewed right here on Sports Talk for next week Saturday. We're gonna go for a quick break again right here, and we're coming up in our final segment in Sports Talk. We'll be talking about Issa, Manning, and the Costa Cup. Great things happening in both competitions, and we're just looking forward. Today is going to be a very interesting game in the Manning Cup. So if you'd like to hear that, stick and stay with me right here on the family station. We're going for a break. We'll be right back.
In need of a loan? AIM Financial is the place to go. We have loans from $20,000 to $3.3 million. Get a loan to pay school or college tuition, medical expenses, bills, fix up your house, buy furniture and appliances, repair or buy a car. And when you're done, take a vacation loan. AIM has a loan for any purpose. Call AIM today. You won't find a better deal elsewhere. Guaranteed.
Christmas is togetherness. Flow is giving you their best. Christmas is special savings. That's just what Flow is bringing. Christmas is the joy of giving. Flow has just what you've been wishing. Oh, it's a celebration. Free phone and earbuds for you.
Get a free Samsung phone and earbuds when you sign up for Flow Yard and Road for only $4,999 plus GCT.
Flow makes Christmas bright and blue because it's all inspired by
Visit
you.
the Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Marshall's Pharmacy will be celebrating its 5th anniversary and hosting their grand opening Saturday, November 11. Join Love 101 FM as we will be live on location from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the grounds of Shop 10 to 11 Pathfinder Plaza, 2W Henderson Boulevard, Portmore, to share all that's happening with you. Listen for Heralds of Hope, brought to you by the Central Jamaica Conference SDA at 12:30. That's Marshall's Pharmacy's 5th anniversary and grand opening Saturday, November 11 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for an inspiring time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer, this Monday, November 13. Listen throughout the show for tips on how to become the best version of who you are in the feature Becoming You. Grab your cup of coffee and we could start the day right with the Morning Coffee Pick Me Up devotional at 6 a.m. Cruise with Love on your radio at 7 a.m. inside Drive Time Jammings with great music to lift your day. This week inside Being Jamaican, we have a question for you. As a Jamaican, a real yardie, what don't you eat? Let's chat about it. At 8:30 a.m. inside The Healthy Way, we discuss a boil, also known as Furonco. 9:30 a.m. is Something More, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center. So stick and stay with us. This Pick Me Up Monday inside Love in the Morning. 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101. Celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Would you consider homeschooling your child? Why or why not? Does it really work, and is it worth it? Monday, November 13 on Family Time. Join host Roland Gale and guests Trudy Lee Panton and Terry Chung as they discuss the topic homeschooling. That's Family Time, Monday, November 13 at 5:30 p.m. here on the Family Station, Love 101.
Welcome back to Sports Talk right here on the Family Station. We are now going into our final segment where we'll be talking about the Issa Manning and the Costa Cup. Listen, I know you guys know I was excited about the competition, but when I say what happened, especially in the Manning Cup yesterday, I don't think a lot of pundits would have predicted what would have happened yesterday. But we'll start on Wednesday. We had the Da Costa Cup starting their quarterfinals matches, and I will give you the results of those quarterfinals, or I will tell you, well, what were the standings for the quarterfinals. So in Group 1, Gavi Maceo, they lead Group 1 on 3 points, same points as Dintil. Cornwall, so Dintil would have defeated Cornwall College 2-love, and Garvey Maceo would have defeated BB Coke 4-love. So Garvey Maceo and Dintil are currently in pole positions from Group 1. In Group 2, Clarendon College would have defeated Christiana 4-love, and Glenmuir would have defeated Manchester High 2-love, and so Clarendon College and Glenmuir are in pole positions as it relates to Group 2 in the Da Costa Cup competition. Yesterday was the final quarterfinal round for the Manning Cup Group 1, and we saw Stats play Mona and St. Catherine play Kingston College. Now, it was a situation where Stats or Mona had to win to go through, and KC had to, St. Catherine had to defeat KC by a margin of 2 goals or more to make it to the semifinals. Now, on Tuesday, KC would have defeated Stats 1-0, and Mona and St. Catherine would have drew to a 1-1 draw, right? So that being said, it really set up the matches for yesterday. And what happened was Mona would have defeated Stats by 2-0. No, Stats had Stats had a rough game, and the game against Stats and Kingston College on Tuesday was a very, very rough, let me tell you, demanding game. Players were practically sitting down, in terms of the energy that they would have exerted on Tuesday. And so I know having matches Saturday, then Tuesday, then Thursday, then Friday, I know would have at some point the legs of the boys would, the fitness would have shown, and it definitely showed. Stats didn't look like themselves yesterday against Mona at all. And Stats would have been one of the teams that would have been predicted to do well. Why? Because from last year, Stats would have brought back 10 of their players. 10 of their starting 11 from last year is currently in the Manning Cup. Where other teams would have suffered losses. I mean, Kingston College being the team that would have majority of the squad would have left for whatever reason, meaning that the time would have been up in Manning Cup, or the coach was leaving, so they left the coach. We'll talk about that maybe closer to the end of the season. But so Stats would have come in as, I would say, one of the preseason favorites this year. They're now out, not in the semifinals. So in the St. Catherine Kingston College game, in the early minutes, KC went down to 10 men. Then St. Catherine scored. Then St. Catherine scored again, then went down to 10 men. Then KC scored the goal that would have allowed them to make it to the semifinals. Now, at the beginning of the Manning Cup season, a lot of teams, I'm sure a lot of the pundits did not expect Kingston College to be here in the to even make it to the semifinals. First of all, they said the team was too young and all the things. But one thing I've heard from most of the analysts so far is about the heart of this Kingston College team, and it definitely showed yesterday. They've been showing heart from that first loss that happened against Hydel, and I said first loss in quotation because we know that result was overturned because Idle had used an ineligible player. But from that match until now, the team has shown heart more than I think any other team in the competition, in whether the Manning Cup or the Costa Cup competition. And that has, I can say they're not the best as a team, not the best talented team, but heart has definitely brought them to the semifinals. And sometimes you need a little heart more than you need the skill set of, of a good team. But, we'll talk about that further as we will preview the semifinals. But coming up today, though, so out of Group 1, sorry, let me go backtrack a little. So out of Group 1, Mona and KC are now in the semifinals, which also means that they qualify for the quarterfinal round of the Champions Cup. Stats and St. Catherine will now play for the Walker Cup, which I think will be interesting because at least now in recent times, the Walker Cup has been renamed as the Losers Cup. But with these teams being added, I think it will make the Walker Cup more interesting. All right, so that's for Group 1. So Group 1, we've already figured out who's going to go to semifinals, Mona and KC. Very interesting games yesterday, and the games did live up to every single bill that both games, were predicted to be. Today, in Group 2, or Group B of the quarterfinal in the Manning Cup, JC will play St. George's and Hydel will play Tivoli Gardens. Now, Tivoli Gardens has no chance of qualifying to the next round, which is the semi-final round. So it's really now George's, JC, and Hydel. Hydel currently on 4 points in that group. George's on 4 points in that group. JC on 3 points in that group. And of course, Tivoli yet to have a point in the group. So for me, I think Hydel will go through. They only need a draw to go through. So if they draw against Tivoli, they're fine. And but the interesting match today is many-time champions Jamaica College against many-time champions St. George's College. Now, St. George's is still undefeated. So St. George's and Mona are the two teams that have been undefeated in the Manning Cup so far. St. George's is still undefeated, and I don't see the St. George's team rolling over and allowing JC to win, which would mean that if the match draws, or if the match is played to a draw, then JC will be out. And that has not happened in many, many years in the Manning Cup, that JC has not made it to the Final Four. And that is what makes it so interesting today. Because you have the defending champions being JC basically with their back against the wall, and they will have to come out with a dominating performance today against George's, which I've yet to see. I'm going to be honest, I've yet to see from this JC squad. I've yet to see them take a match by the helm and just run with it. Last week, Saturday, I watched them against Hydel, and they weren't as impressive as I thought they would be. And I will admit also that JC they have not been, the truth is JC, they don't play They don't play pretty football. So if you're looking for pretty football, JC is not the squad to watch because you're not gonna get pretty football from them. However, I thought, they had lapses last week against Heidel, which allowed them to lose the match. And I think Heidel dominated them last week, Saturday. Now, if it is that performance that I think against Tivoli, the performance was better. They were able to lift their game. But as the defending champions, if they don't get all the cards right, today, I don't see a Neville Bertispel coach, St. George's College, who has been consistent for the competition so far. I don't see that side. I don't see them losing, at least not to JC and not today. So, I mean, the match is coming up at 3 o'clock. So if you can, the match will be happening at the Ashenine Stadium at JC. If you can, if you're interested, go watch it. If not, get to your closest TV to watch it. Yes, because I'm guaranteeing you that this matchup today will be a mouthful, a very exciting match. It is. It's good, and I'm interested because because I do sports out. But I'm just saying, for football to be for schoolboy football to be this interesting at this part of the season, that for the Manning Cup everything has just blown wide open. Teams that were not really touted to do well, they are doing well. They are stepping up to the plate. They are grinding out those results. I heard one analyst say that they're expecting JC to grind out the result against Georges today, but I'm also saying I don't know. I think that Georges can hold them to a draw. So I'm also looking forward to the match in anticipation of what's gonna happen today, because trust me, big things are happening. And of course, not to be left out, the DaCosta Cup, they go into their second set of quarterfinals today. Manchester will play Clarendon College, Glenmuir will play Christiana, Cornwall will play BB Coke, and let me just go back. At Manchester will play Clarendon at Manchester, and all these games kick off at 3 o'clock. Glenmuir will play Christiana, and that will happen at Glenmuir. Cornwall will play BB Coke, and that's happening at Jarrett Park. And Dintil will play Garvey Maceo, and that will happen at the Ewaton Sports Complex. And of course, with teams, so in the DaCosta Cup, Glenmuir and Clarendon have already, stated their claim in what's happening so far. And then of course there's Dintil and Cornwall. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of the other four teams, they're able to come up with a win today to make the groups interesting. I think what happened in the Manning Cup is that teams that you expected to dominate another team, that didn't happen. Team that you'd expected to win against another team didn't happen. And so that made it interesting for the Manning Cup. I'm hoping in the DaCosta Cup we can get some interesting results today, so that on the final day of quarterfinal round, which will be on Tuesday for the DaCosta Cup, we'll see some interesting results. And of course, the teams that will qualify for the semifinals in the DaCosta Cup will also play the quarterfinal round in the Champions Cup, which actually has their draw on Tuesday. So the Champion Cup draw will take place on Tuesday. And of course, the teams that did not progress to either Manning Cup or the Costa Cup semifinals, they will play for the Manning Cup, they will play the Walker Cup, and for the DaCosta Cup, the ones that didn't progress to the DaCosta Cup semifinals, they will play the Ben Francis Cup. I think I'm glad that they've allowed these teams who have made it to the quarterfinals to be a part of the Ben Francis and Walker Cup, because then people won't label it as the Losers Cup anymore. What was happening is that, the Walker Cup and the format for the Walker Cup and the Ben Francis Cup, it was readjusted, I would say, so that the boys didn't have so many games to play, because it means that they would have been across the teams involved in 3 competitions. And so those who made it to the semi-final rounds of the Manning and the Costa Cup, they weren't eligible, or it was restructured for them not to play the Walker Cup. And so the Walker Cup then felt like a loser's cup. But I feel like with these teams that would have gone out, or who are going to go out in the quarterfinals of the Manning Cup, seeing that everything did not go to plan, I know stats would be looking to, base all guns in the Walker Cup. Tivoli Gardens, defending champions, they're also in the Walker Cup. You have teams like Haile Selassie, who would have done well, who would have been named as one of the preseason teams to look forward to. They didn't make it into the quarterfinals of the Manning Cup, and so they're looking to stake their claim in the Walker Cup. And so I know a lot of teams will be looking forward to going through in the World Cup. And of course, it's the same thing in the Costa Cup. A lot of teams who we would have said or would have predicted that they would have been doing well and gone far in the season, they're now out of the Costa Cup. And so the Ben Francis Cup becomes interesting as well. So looking forward to both competitions. And of course, as I said, the Champions League draw, Schoolboy Champions League draw will come up on Tuesday. Very interesting things happening. Very interesting things happening here across the board, so not just schoolboy football looking forward to this week, but of course, as I said, Reggae Boys international friendly against Guatemala that will happen this evening. The Sunshine Girls still will play New Zealand and England in the Fast 5 series. They've played 3 matches so far, won 2, lost 1. And so they have England and New Zealand to play in the competition in the round robin, and let's see if they'll qualify for the playoffs. And of course, the Reggae Boys will take on Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League, and that will happen Friday at the National Stadium. So lots to look forward to. We're looking forward to what will happen in the world of sports for this week. Of course, as well, just to mention that Rashid Broadbell was named as one of the Visa-sponsored athletes for the 2024 Olympics. So congratulations to Rashid on that achievement. And so, of course, he'll be one of the poster boys for the Olympics for Visa. So yeah, looking forward. Thank you so much for staying and tuning to Sports Talk today. Really appreciated your presence. We do this every Saturday between 1 to 2 p.m. If you're just getting the end of the show, you can go back and watch on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. And of course, you can also WhatsApp us at 876-997-3125. And you can also download the app. Yes, the app can be downloaded. Facebook and YouTube, you have 101 FM Jamaica. That's it for Sports Talk. Catch me next Saturday between the hours of 1 to 2 p.m. I'm Kathya Davis. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon.